Welcome back to another episode of the Knuckle Head Podcast. I'm your co-host, Quan.
Hey, I'm your co-host, Malcolm, a.k.a. King Mal.
All right, so after that long introduction, Hey, man, they just got to go all into the acronyms.
Gotta let them know. So if you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. So on this episode, we're actually going to cover an interesting topic, right? Really on one of the key principles of the show, right? Really being, because again, when we came up with this idea for this show, right, with my co-host, we wanted to really find a way to build that bridge and really connect, a lot of the people and a lot of our experience with the people that are doing well financially with the majority, right? Because you always hear, it's always that 1% that controls the world's wealth. It's always that 1% that's, that has access to all the money. It's always that 1% that makes all the decisions, and the 99% are the ones that are affected by that 1%.
Right.
So what we came up with was a crazy idea of building that bridge to really connect not just the knowledge into digestible bites, but give people some implement steps that they can take and actionable recommendations that they can make and implement in their own lives to ultimately increase their own financial literacy and possibly increase their own financial wealth.
Facts.
So, man, it's been a pleasure doing it, and let's jump into it. So, now, speaking about the 99%, what are some of the most common characteristics that you see? Because we've both been on both sides, right? We don't come from an abundance of money or wealth, right? So, but we've had some unique experience, where we've been in positions where we've seen that there's real money out there, right? We've been in areas where we've seen people talk about owning their own businesses or generating revenue and things like that. So what are the three characteristics you would say that the 99% are getting wrong compared to the successful 1%?
Gotcha. Number one, the vision. They don't know how to actually break down their vision and make it plain.
Okay.
That's it. A lot of times when you look at most of those in the 99%, they can be like, hey, I want to paint, but I want to paint just like this person. They don't have their own strategic vision, what that looks like, why, right? The next one behind it is like they don't have the value, to be real with you. Mm-hmm. What does that look like? What education? What are they building the knowledge with? How are they able to apply that to the audience that they're looking to obtain from that, right? And then the next one from there, there's multiple that I can give, but the next one from there is being consistent. They have no level of consistency. 1 minute they want to do it, 1 minute they all right, I'll figure and backtrack, and that all falls under the first two.
Right.
Vision and value.
Right.
You'll never be consistent if you don't know what your goal and where you're trying to go, and if you don't actually feed what you're trying to do. So those are three. I got more.
Yeah, I got you. So I guess the top three, I definitely agree with you on the vision, right? I think anything that you're doing, no matter how big or small, if you don't have a vision, if you can't visualize yourself achieving that, you'll never get there. Right. I think the second one is understanding how money works, right? They don't teach this in school. They don't teach this. You barely really hear about it in college. I didn't really start understanding how money works and how to really implement it into my everyday life until I got into an MBA program, right? So that means that's damn near 12 years of just regurgitated algebra, regurgitated geometry, where it wasn't really connecting the dots for me, right?
Damn, 12 years?
Yeah, man. And I think the last one would be for me
That's a long ass time.
I'm trying to tell you, because think about it, you got first grade to 12th grade.
Oh, man.
Then you got 4 years of college, then another 2 years. Yeah, hell no.
I was like, well, what were you doing?
I ain't gonna lie, man. I was doing a lot, but shit, I was in school with my friends. I was in school for 12 years.
I was doing the math in my head. I was like,
man, my old family disowned me. 12 years of undergrad? What are you doing?
Hey, some people. Hey, no offense.
Hey,
yeah, some people.
I ain't knocking you,
it may
but
take 20 years.
Hey, college is not for everybody. That's a true statement. If you got, listen. We're gonna have some fun this episode. If you've been in the undergraduate program for 12 years, that's not your niche. You gotta look at something else. That ain't for you. You gotta look at some other options. There's nothing wrong with it. Promise you. I know a lot of people both went to college, didn't go to college, and they're doing really well. So college is not for everybody.
Oh man.
but yeah, I think the last one, I think the last one, I can't with this guy. I think the last one is just, like you said, discipline, right? Having the discipline to constantly work towards something every single day, whether you want to, whether you feel like, you're getting the results you want, whether you're not getting the results you want. It's really that discipline pays off in the long run because as you're not reaching your goal, but you're still working at it, you're learning and like for perfect example, right? I didn't know nothing about video editing this year. I know so much more now compared to 5-6 months just because I put the time in, right? Even if I didn't come out with the ideal product that I wanted, me putting that extra time ultimately helped improve my schools, right? My learning. So there's this book I read. I forgot. I think it's called The 13 Principles of Success. And one principle that always stuck with me is it's a phrase called infinite knowledge. Simply what it's saying in summary is that even if you can learn any skill, the difference between someone being successful at it and someone failing at it is how often you are constantly working towards that goal. Because as you continue, like for example, like driving a car. When you first started learning how to drive a car, you didn't know how to drive a car, but now what are you doing? You can drive, you can look at the rear view mirror, you can park, you can reverse, you can put it in neutral, you can steer left, you can steer right, you can visualize, you can see all three of your mirrors at the same time. You gain that through experience and through constantly stretching out, your work ethic, and that comes with discipline. But now speaking on that, a lot of times, I speak to a lot of people, they ask, how did you start doing your Airbnb? Like, what inspired you to do that? Or, what areas can I grow that way I can get to the point to open up an Airbnb or open up a business? So as far as from an improvement standpoint, what are 3 things that you think the 99% can improve on, today or within, the next couple of weeks to really see some results in their lives? What are the 3 areas that you think are the most important to improve, to see improvement?
I'll be real with you. It doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't change. Like, if you think about it, let's go backwards, consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So finding a routine that's consistent within the business or the company or whatever it is that you're trying to do. What is consistent? What can you do on a daily basis? Now, say we're going backwards, if that's learning value. Okay, so every day in the morning, I'm going to wake up at this time and read about this or YouTube, because we do YouTube about this, right?
Yep.
So consistency. All right, now that you did that, what are you doing to get your business? All right, well, today I'm going to work on this, being consistent, learning, applying,
Mm-hmm.
and then going backwards. All right, every day, what does that look like with consistency? All right, what are you looking to obtain? So in 2 weeks, what are you looking to do? Oh, well, within the first week, I want to start my LLC, S Corp, C Corp, whichever direction, right?
Right.
Then the following week, I want to go open a bank account. Having it where it lines up so that now you're making movement. With movement comes progress. With progress comes consistency.
Right.
Why is that the case? Due to the fact that you started with the mindset of being consistent, and now that you applied it, you'll continuously be consistent. So the thing that they're doing wrong, or that's holding them back as far as growth, is that one C word that connects to every single aspect of your growth or where you're trying to go.
Okay.
I probably threw a lot of people off, but you can just reach out to me for.
Oh, here you go, man. Plug. That's Mr. Plug-in himself. He gonna get his plug in. So what I would say, I agree with the big C word that you mentioned. Consistency is definitely a key pillar in anything that you're trying to improve on. But I think also understanding, because I think it's a talent, right? I think it's a skill that you can grow into, is learning how to fail forward, right? It goes hand in hand with consistency in the sense that even if you fail, what did you learn from that failure, right? Like we did an episode where, you were selling me something, right? But there were some challenges in the midst of you selling me that marker that you had to overcome in order to ultimately get the sale.
Correct.
Now, I would be safe to assume that because when you were, you probably have dealt with a million no's.
Yeah.
And learning to overcome those no's equipped you to deal with a lot of different situations. So it's harder for you to walk away with nothing from an interaction than maybe for the average person, because you've gotten so comfortable with understanding that failing forward is also a part of that process.
Right. And so I agree 100% with the failing forward. I feel like being okay to fail is one of the best solutions. Don't look to fail, but be okay to be okay to fail. Right. Don't look to fail. Like I don't think anybody go into anything saying
Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna take
fail.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. But be
that's a surefire way to be unsuccessful.
correct, but be okay with it to the point, like you were saying, you learn from it. When you're applying those key elements to it, I kid you not, learning from your mistakes actually help you succeed and move faster forward than actually just sitting there dwelling in it. So I'm with you 100% on that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like the value of your network, and that's one of the ones that stands out. The value of your network is like needed, right?
Yeah.
It's very, very powerful. And I said this on the last time we were together. I have yet to see a millionaire
Mm-hmm.
become a millionaire by themselves,
100%.
right?
100%.
There's one thing that I heard someone that I ran into. He go to networking events,
Mm-hmm.
and he calls it the 1 minute conversation, right? 1 minute meetup, however you look at it. What he does, he intentionally goes around the room and talks to a person for 1 minute, but he already has 3 questions lined up,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he'll ask 3 questions, boom, boom, and then boom, within that time frame, he's like, oh, okay, great. And if he wants to, he's like, let's set up a follow-up meeting where it's longer outside of here. Intentionally, he does that because he wants to meet everyone in the room so that then he can go outside and have his schedule so booked up that then he's good to go.
Right.
He's a coach.
Casting a large
Right.
net.
He's a coach, and his whole thing is helping small businesses.
Yeah.
So for me, that's my network. I love that. So being strategic of how you network and who you network with can actually help you kind of level up real quick.
Yeah, no, I mean, this particular question. I agree with you. Has definitely echoed in my life, especially as of recent, right? So, just I don't think people understand, how powerful your network really can be, right? Like I've gone in my just casually, I'm like, who do I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to get a video editor, or I want some advice on video editing, or I want some advice on how to take pictures, or I want some advice on how to speak at a speaking engagement, or I want some advice on, setting up a podcast, or I want some advice on starting a YouTube channel. I've really, as of recently, kind of lean a little bit more into my network because I don't think us as human beings, because we're just so focused on the day to day, we never look back and say, who do I know that can possibly teach me something, right? So I think there's a lot of opportunity in meeting new people, but I think a lot of times, even right now, I have a close friend of mine has a successful clothing brand. I mean, he's partnered with the Brooklyn Nets. Like that's something I'm like, whoa, like this is someone I know. If I ever wanted to get into clothing or something like that, that's a direct line I could get into. Now, I wouldn't do it now, but just knowing that network, opportunity is there, is like it speaks volume. So I definitely think like the value of and I think sometimes I will say this as a caveat, some people get things confused, right? Value in your network doesn't always have to have a monetary attachment to it, right? I can learn something, I would say I'm graceful in this particular area. I was raised by my family, who taught me the value of, hey, you can learn something from that person that's homeless on the street just as much as you can learn something from that billionaire sitting at the high tower. The only difference is how it applies to your life, right? There's lessons all around you if you pay enough attention, right? And I think a lot of people, they always hear net worth because that's, hear net worth, it's your net worth and blah, blah, blah. But I think sometimes you have to understand that value and lessons and skill set come in different shapes and sizes. Like you'll be surprised how many homeless people may be on the street, not because they weren't successful. They probably were really wealthy at one point, but maybe their life took a turn for the worse due to some unforeseen circumstances, whether that's drugs, influences, wrong surroundings. That's a lesson that somebody can take and apply. Like, man, you know what? This person went this, was this everything I wanted to be, but they took it left. So let me learn from the mistake, and there's a quote that I always kind of echo in my head. A fool learns from himself, but a wise person learns from the mistake of others, right? So whether that's someone that's making $1 million a year or someone that's living on the street, there's value everywhere. It depends on what you decide to take and how you apply it to your life. So that's what I feel about, when it revolves around network.
So the you hit on something, and I say it all the time. Your network is your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
But to break it down, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people say that and they're like, oh, and they think money. When you look up someone's net worth online,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just how much money they have, as far as, say, if it's an NBA player,
Mm-hmm.
oh, they have a deal that's $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
It also is the amount of assets they have.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they have houses that are paid off,
Right.
life insurance,
Right.
Cars,
Different components.
lands,
Yeah, it's not just cash flow.
When you
Right.
look at it from that standpoint, and this may help somebody, right? This is my breakdown of that quote. When you look at it, there's people, like he said, podcasts, right? He not being doing the podcast but killing it right now, right? But not doing a podcast but killing it. Why did he kill it? Because what did he do? He stepped into his network. That now his knowledge, he has an asset right now. Knowledge-wise asset that can actually make money down the line. When you think of videography, he didn't. What if he reached out to his clothing line? The people that are around you should be able to benefit. You both benefit from one another, giving each other some form of assets.
Mm-hmm.
Assets are something that's going to actually grow and keep you going in life, having people around you.
Yep.
Then, yeah, it may turn into financial gains, which most of the time that's the end goal. But your network, y'all should be able to connect together and be like, yo, let's put this thing together. Let's do what we need. Oh, you trying to do this? Well, let me give you some knowledge on this to help you go ahead and make money. That's when you listen to that quote now. I don't know whoever tell you before this. Now, look at it from a standpoint of the people around you. You should be able to grow with and grow from the knowledge that they give you, the energy that they give you, all of that, so that you can stay in a positive mindset, right? Because there's moments in time that if you have a negative person around you, if you notice, your day at the job is shit.
Yep.
Your business go down. You start going out spending money that you know damn well you shouldn't be spending, right? So a lot of things become a liability.
Yep.
So when you listen to net worth, your network is your net worth. Think of it from the mindset of who is around me and how we benefit each other. Are we lifting each other to that next level? Are we being stagnant? Are we not moving at all? Or are we going downhill?
Yep.
That's when you start to eliminate and replace. And it's okay to replace people, excuse me.
Definitely is. Definitely is. I tell people all the time, you're the CEO of your life. You can demote and promote people accordingly. 100%. So, like, for instance, us, we met each other playing basketball. We got another friend in here. We met each other playing basketball. Love these guys. Never, to this day, me and Malcolm have gotten into arguments. Basketball, because we both competitive and everything.
I walked off the court yesterday.
Hey, listen, that's just our relationship. Listen, but one thing I will say with certainty, we've never had any negative altercation. There's never been any down talking. There's never been any, man, you think you could do that? You probably can't do that. You know why? Because it's not necessarily. Now, again, this is not a transaction of money, but this is a transaction of moral and support. And when you have that type of community built around you, you really can make a lot of things happen because you know that you're around people that generally want to see you succeed and see you win just as much as they want to win. And that right there is irreplaceable. That you can't put a price on that. So kind of touching on the last point, right? And I think a lot of people don't. This last point that we're going to touch before we close out, a lot of people don't really touch on enough, right? And that's time, right? They always talk about time management, but what I want to kind of dive into a little bit more is how much do you feel how much do you feel is enough time to dedicate to your business? And the reason why I asked this question, because I think a lot of the 99% of the people that we're talking to out there, they're not putting in that time. Like we talked about it earlier in this episode, discipline. How much time are you putting in to ultimately get the result you want? Because if you're not putting enough time to fail and then get past that failure, to your point, the easiest wind of resistance that you face, you're gonna crumble. Your business is not gonna thrive because you didn't put enough time early on. Like it would be easy for us to just start doing podcasts, but little do they know, little do the audience know, we were doing pre-recordings way before we got to this point of, getting the lighting, getting the visuals, getting the timing, getting the rapport right on camera, because we already have rapport, but putting that time in early got to the point like, man, we can talk comfortably around, pretty much anywhere, anybody. So, how much do you feel like dedicating time to your business really ultimately gets you to the result that you want?
That's a good question. Now, I will say this: I do feel that everyone's different, because everyone has different responsibilities. So, and don't use that as an excuse. I'm gonna say this because there. Let's get away from responsibilities. Let's go to the leisure side of it. Social media. Look on social media. Go to your Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and it tells you how long each day you're on there. So if it says 30 minutes, if it says 2 hours, if it says all day, that means you got all day. Limit lessen that time, right?
Yep.
Right. Lessen the time that the leisure things, the things that are not needed. If you're looking to grow, sometimes you got to sacrifice certain things, right?
100%.
And that's the hard part. Now, responsibilities, understanding responsibilities to the point where some things are really not your responsibility. You just take it on. Like, for instance, nothing to my brother. I'm just using him as an example because this is not true. So if my brother is always like, hey, Malcolm, and just calling me about everything, and I know he can solve the problem himself, and I indulge into that where I'm putting countless of hours and stuff into fixing his problem, that's not my problem. But what does that do? That hold me back from getting the solutions, everything I need for myself to grow. So sometimes you got to lessen the amount of things you put on your plate that's not your problem, because some people are adults. It's not a responsibility. It's you being leveraged. So it's not saying don't help people, but understand when people are taken away from your growth for their gain. That's be mindful. So that's why I say responsibility. Some of it may not be your responsibility. Sometimes you just got to give it back to the person that's the proper owner. From there, once you negate or you find out those two things, then you'll notice that you have a lot of god dang on time within a day that you invest into other stuff that you can apply. I feel if you looking as far as a certain time frame, man, I don't think they want my answer, because my answer may not be the answer that
Go ahead, give it to him.
man, y'all working 9 to 5. Y'all giving that 9 to 5, everything for somebody else's dream. At least you can give them 2 hours for your dream.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You already. I know you're not sleeping at night. I know you're not sleeping. And if you are sleeping after you get off of work all the way to the next day,
that's a problem in itself. You want somebody couch.
I'm gonna refer you to a doctor and see if I got an affiliate for that doctor so I can get paid, because that's a problem. But yeah, all jokes aside, I feel 2 hours. There are some people that got 45 minutes, but just apply it to something. But get rid of as much leisure, because you need that for mindset, mental health. So you need it, but sometimes we just overindulge into the leisure side of it, and then get rid of responsibilities that don't need to be yours. Stop putting other people weight on your shoulders.
Yeah, man, I agree with you 100%. I think definitely there's more than enough time in a day, right? But you just got to find out what's important to you. And if this business that you're looking to pursue, or this idea you're looking to pursue is not enough for you to dedicate time, then you don't want it bad enough. Right. And that's the reality of the situation, and that's in life. So I think to close out, I would say that even with this show here, right? We put the final product is going to be the final product, but we put so much time in to things that we really believe in, that we're passionate about. I enjoy it, right? I enjoy, setting up and having these discussions and, coming up with topics to really, add value to someone's life. And I think when you really find something that you're passionate about, it's going to feel like a sacrifice at time, but ultimately that's something that you're passionate about, and you're going to see it through to the end. So I definitely think moving forward, guys, for the 99% that, this episode was really dedicated to, the time is now, right? The last topic really touched on it. If you really want to invest in yourself, if you really want to get to that point in life, the time is now. There's, the time you've wasted is gone. The only time you got left is the one you have right now. So make the most of it.
100%. The thing I want y'all to do is write down why it's important right? So then the second thing I want you to do is go and see how much time you put into social media or into other things, right? Nothing wrong with leisure, but see how much you're indulging into it, right? So I know you 4 o'clock in the morning he goes to work out, right? Then he goes to work. Then he comes home, probably relax, and then put time into
Right
the
back
business.
into it.
You know
Got
what I
to.
mean? So what does that look like for you? So see, all right, leisure, can you do it within an hour or 30 minutes so you can get to work? The next thing I want you to do is go through your phone, look at your recent call log for the past 2 months, analyze it, do a check mark. Quan called me in the past 2 months 25 times. Roy called me 25 times. You know what I mean? My brother called me 20. Like, check off, see how many times he called you, but then look and see, because we remember the conversation that people have. How many of those times were you helping them lift their responsibilities up off of them and put it on yourselves? And if it's more than 25%, or if it's more than, matter of fact, if it's more than 15%, you need to let them know, hey, I need you to handle this yourself. I'm working on something. It's not a problem. There's times I told my mom, my family, hey, these next 90 days, I'm grinding. I can't carry nothing of yours. I can't do nothing of yours. I only got to focus on me. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if I focus on me, it's going to benefit myself first so that I know the capital that I'm going to bring, but that capital I'm going to bring is going to actually benefit you as well. You just got to give me peace and mind and not put the weight on me. Have those tough conversations if you really want to get to that next level. But who am I to tell you what to do? I'm trying to get you out of that 99%.
On that note, thank you again for joining us on another episode of the Knuckle Head Podcast. If you enjoyed the content, like, subscribe to the channel. Definitely follow us on any platform where you get your podcast. Until next time, guys. We out.
Sir.
They didn't think we was going to get here, but we here.
They thought we never would have made
Oh,
it.
I don't do the singing. That's him all day, man. Don't put a microphone in front of him. Start singing like Keith Sweat or something.
Hey, for real. Without the kids.
Hey, listen. This guy is crazy. This guy. Well, thank you again for joining the channel. I hope you enjoy the content. This guy is crazy. Hope you enjoy the content. Again, we out here. You know, the goal of our show really is to build that bridge from the 1%ers to the 99 percentile. And we want to say thank you. If you like the context, you enjoy the conversation, like, subscribe, share to everyone you know, because this information is only as powerful as the people that we give it to. So again, thank you for that, and we'll see y'all later.